Ah, the mysteries of the reserved list. Cards short on supply, skyrocketing in price. So many people want it abolished, for it to be done for people to reprint, for Wizards to reprint the dual lands or even a Black Lotus, and for the past 11 years. Wizards of the Coast has told the people no! And just to give an update, if they're gonna change their mind, Nuts of Odin quoted Mark Rosewater, "I spent years of trying, I don't think it's going away." So Nuts of Odin asks, are there any actions that we as players could take to help change the minds and get the reserve list abolished? And Mark Rosewater responds, I can't go into details, but I think you all will be mentally happier if you accept that it's not going to change. There you go, people. We've got an update on the reserve list here. It sticks. It stands. It's not going anywhere. I don't think this is the update that people were hoping for, but this is the update. Sort of a yearly update. We'll probably get this update again next year, and the year after that, and the year after that, and the year after that. I'm sure this person was just priced out of like a Gaia's Cradle, and all of a sudden they decided, you know what, now is the time that we gotta change the reserve list policy. There's some interesting comments here, though. Look at Lord Gyro. No, it's more like upper management have their retirement fund in old cards, and they want to keep, they want them to keep rising because screw the players. My pet conspiracy theory. I know I won't be mentally happy until the reserve list ends. Why does this thing matter so much to you? I am now hoping counterfeits get so good you can't tell. I am being pushed to order non-Wizards cards and support them, since Wizards continues to refuse to support their own game. Oh yeah, like making 1 million products a year isn't supporting their own game. What do you play, Legacy? Like, that's the only thing that you're trying to really genuinely support. Yeah, like Victor says, but I mean, why would you want that? To get into Legacy? To get old cards into Modern? If that's true, it'd mess up Modern. Just let Legacy die. Legacy doesn't even have to die. It just exists in digital form. It just suffers in paper form. No more paper GPs, but it just exists online. And let's be serious, the older the formats get, the more they become a shithole. One day, I bet Modern has like, I don't know, 15 more years to it until it becomes a complete pile of nonsense. Maybe 10. But we'll enjoy that nonsense just like vintage players enjoy their nonsense. Quite the opposite. We won't be mentally happy until the reserve list is gone, or at least some kind of reprint policy. It's a game, and you're denying game pieces for said game. No, you're not. You have access to 99.9% of the game pieces. You don't need those game pieces. That's a shame. I liked it when it was only Moxus and Lotuses weren't getting reprinted, and then it wasn't called the reserve list yet. Oh, I thought this person was gonna say they liked the game when it was just Moxes and Lotuses. I liked the game back in the day when we had infinite mana. You mean how Wizards of the Coast limits printing anyway, and you wonder why counterfeit cards exist? It's funny, yeah, people were like, they want the reserve list to end. But in actuality, we have regular cards that are more expensive than what's on the reserve list. Anyway, you know, it's just boomer people want the reserve list gone, because all of a sudden there's some card that they want for their deck, and they're not willing to have it's in their mind. They deserve that card. They deserve the Gaia's Cradle, and they cannot play with, like, Nykthos Shrine to Nyx as a budget replacement. Absolutely cannot. So how do you guys feel about the reserve list? Are you guys pro... Well, I don't think anyone's pro-reserve list, but is anyone, like, anti-reserve list? Like, this has to go. The game's gonna die if the reserve list remains. GP. In Shadows over Innistrad, there's a hidden message about the reserve list. Really? Basically, they're telling that it's not going to change. That's got to be put for an Easter egg video one day. I'd love to know where the hidden message is. Yeah, probably Commander players salty about Gaia's Cradle, and maybe Time Twister. And there's like 1 million Time Twisters too. Like, why do you need the Time Twister? You have access to like tons and tons and tons of time twister. How many time twisters do you want? The biggest barrier to entry for Legacy is the duels. Wouldn't banning them solve the problem, or at least make a good meta? Yes, that would solve them too. You just ban all the reserve list cards. But then it wouldn't really be Legacy. It would be like a big modern, in my opinion. Big modern. MTG Ectoplasm Pro reserve list. That's a tough stance to take. These Pro reserve list. There's advantages to the reserve list existing. Like, it does make this game look really collectible. Looks like Black Lotus MTG. And let's look at the news. Most valuable Magic cards. Collectible prices skyrocket. Prices of Magic cards in classic Nintendo games skyrocket. Black Lotus card sells for $500,000 at auction. All banned and restricted, blah, blah, blah. Man accidentally opens old Magic the Gathering pack and pulls a Black Lotus! You know, these articles don't exist if the reserve list doesn't exist. Now, I don't know if this brings good attention to Magic the Gathering, but it does bring attention. Like, no one cares if your game is worth nothing. Keep that in mind. And all of you should feel this. Like, so many of you got into this game because you know that when you buy the cards that they maintain their value. It's not like you're spending $10 on cards that are then immediately worth 10 cents on the secondary value. You bought the cards because they maintain their value. It's easier to buy into decks because you know that it's still worth something. You had hard-earned money and you just converted it into paper cardboard. So, it's not a easy, clear... I mean, like, from my perspective, we don't need the reserve list cards, so it's not... We don't need them at all. There's not a single card that... Sometimes I feel like Null Rod should be taken off the reserve list. Because this is like a universal anti-artifact card for 2 mana. Activated abilities of artifacts can't be activated. I don't know how they reword this to make it, like, legal for everybody, but... This is the only card I feel on the reserve list that should be off. Other than that, we don't need duels, we don't need Black Lotus, we don't need Moxes, like, it doesn't matter. Trevor says they should change the reserve list to those cards with that art, reprint the new art. It's not how the reserve list works. They used to be able to print promos, and I wish they kept that stance and just, like, gave out 8 promos a Pro Tour or something like that. 8 foil Mox Pearls for a top 8. I think they should have reserved, like, but keep it genuinely rare, that it still feels like it's reserved. Dumpster Fire. I think it'd be cooler for everyone to have access to it for casual things like Cube and Commander, but I get why they keep it around. But when it gets casual, proxy. Seriously, my friend had a Power Cube, and all the power cards were proxies. The Black Lotus, the Moxes, all the really expensive cards. Like, if you get casual enough, just play with the fake cards. You don't need official cards for that. Like, you don't need it. I'm not trying to promote proxies here, but like if it's not a tournament, then just proxy. Let's get to the original statement up here. I'm really hoping the reserve list stays. I have too much money in there. Why do people get so upset? Proxy for Commander Legacy is mainly online. Well, mainly online, but we have to admit that the demise of Vintage and Legacy was due to the reserve list. Guten Tag, Darwin. Nothing starts a day like some hot debate. Most Vintage, Legacy, pre-modern events, even some EDH groups allow reserve list proxies. Just go to get a good printer. There you go. Gyron says 10 proxies allowed at my local Legacy 2Ks. That for, oh yeah, 40 plus players. Sweet. GP does not care about the reserve list. But anyway, just a, yeah, proxy gang. We got a big proxy gang here. We have an Null Rod at home. It's called Collector of. There you go. Yeah, exactly. But only for great people who play green. That's the problem. Maybe they could cheat. Instead of it being 2 generic, it's like 2 colorless. Or 1 generic, 1 colorless. We cast it with Mutavault. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Anyway. This just in. Reserve list not going away. Welcome to the morning show where we discuss all things Magic the Gathering, the most interactive MTG stream on the internet. You got questions? Well, hopefully I got answers. Depends on the question. Also, we do Decklist review, so if you got a 75 you'd like some feedback on, hey, submit it to us, and both myself and the coffee crew would love to give some feedback. So brew up those coffees, coffee crew. Let's brew up some Magic this morning. Welcome to Coffee and MTG for September 29th, 2021. I am your host, Nikachu, the Merfolk Master. Good morning. Good morning, Amazing Wally, a Call of Doodle, Aztec Guy, Cody, Papa Joe, MTG, Ectoplasm, Andrew, Victor, Frederick, Mareep, Andrew, Trevor Just, Benji, Tyler Roberts, GPGP, Iron Warlock. Good morning, Jackson, Bohemio, Dakota. Good morning, Bearer. I'm sure there's more good mornings down here. Good morning. You guys give me the early good mornings and later good mornings. Good morning, Benjamin. Good morning, Alan. Good morning. I got water too. You know, here's my coffee, but here's my water. We do double time here. It's a two cup job. When I feel dehydrated, I have my lemon water. Squeeze a slice of lemon in there. So good morning. Good morning, Zal. Good morning, Sanzi. Good morning, Tragic. Yeah, we're gonna get to the sponsor. Thank you for reminding me. Good morning, Zal from Facebook. All right. We got sponsors here, people. FusionGamingOnline.com. Deal of the week is save 20% off on all board games. That includes Monopoly. They have some versions of Monopoly out there. Name your favorite board game in the comments section. Frankly, outside of Monopoly, I'm not a big board game person. I do like Monopoly, even though it's a terrible game. But the thing is with Monopoly is if you know the strategy, if you know the rules and everyone else doesn't, you just maul them. You just completely crush them. And it's like, I don't know, it feels like chess, where everyone thinks they're good until they play against someone who knows strategy, and then they realize they're not so good anymore. Cannot speak for other board games. Requires other people. Nikachu doesn't have other people to play board games with. But anyway, save 20% off all board games at FusionGamingOnline.com, and if 20% is not enough, hey, we got a coupon code here, Nikachu, for an additional 5% off all your purchases. And we're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. The modern metagame has never been so diverse and also changing. I think in the last 2 months, the metagame has changed so much. Top decks are not so much top decks anymore. Hammer time goes up, hammer time goes down. Same with Blue-Red Murktide. Same. So we had like no elementals, then we had all elementals, and we still do have quite a few. And if you want to stay on top of the best deck every week, week in and week out of Modern, amongst other formats, you can rent the decks with Mana Traders. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 15% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu. Alright, you know the drill, people. The drill. 3 question marks before the question, 3 question marks after the question helps me find your questions amongst all the comments I'm getting on all my social media channels. But if you're on YouTube, if you're on Nikachu MTG streams, you can cheat the system with super chats. Donate with a super chat, and your question gets pushed to the top of my feed. For chess, what do you play against D4? The Grunfeld. Maybe I can get a picture of the Grunfeld. The Grunfeld defense. Oh, baby. There we go. This is what it looks like. D4, knight F6, C4, G6, knight C3, D5, baby. Some classic sharp stuff. Grunfeld is also well known for helping Garry Kasparov lose his world championship, as his Grunfeld actually wasn't good enough against Vladimir Kramnik for the world championship title. I don't care. I'm playing it anyway. I don't care. I actually played it. I started playing it before it became hot. That opening got really hot really quickly. No, this is not a chess. We're not a chess channel, but I am a chess master. Some of you know that. Nikachu will create a new channel for people saying good morning. Let's see. What is the strategy in Monopoly? Okay, let's get long story short. Now I can't get through everything. Monopoly. There are some videos on this, so it's not so new anymore. There's some very good videos on this. Can we get a picture of the board, please? Oh, here we go. Okay, hold on. I got a picture of the board. What is the strategy to Monopoly? Well, the strategy is to win the game, of course. Do you guys see what I see? What the hell Monopoly set is this? This is like me accidentally getting the fifth color. Okay, I want a regular board, please. What happened to this game? I just want the classic board. Okay, hold on. Monopoly, classic board. And if you guys know some tips and tricks, let me know, because I'm probably not going to remember all of them at once. Okay, this is good enough. Boom. The strategy. All right, so the first things first. It's very important that you go to, I think you go to jail more than anything else. Just keep that in mind. You either roll triples, you go to jail, or you hit a chance card and it tells you to go to jail, or you go to jail because you landed on the go to jail part. So it's very important. You go to jail over and over and over again. Now, what does that mean? It means these properties are the most valuable. Once you get out of jail, you're more likely to hit the orange, the reds, and the yellows more than anything else. So those, and you get a good return on your money with those. They're not too expensive to buy. It's not too expensive to build houses and hotels. And you don't need hotels. You just need houses, more or less. But anyway, you want to go after the oranges, the red, the hot colors, as they say. Because everyone's going to jail all the time. Now, what else do you need to know? The more players you're playing with, the more valuable the railroads are. Because the more people that there are, the more chance that they're going to land on the railroads, and therefore they're going to give you a nice source of cash flow. The less people that you are playing with, the less valuable these railroads are. And you can't win with the railroads, but you get a really good chunk of money. What else do you need to know? In my opinion, the light blue properties are not too bad, because you go a decent chunk of the time as well. But it's hard to bankrupt people off of the light colors. You bankrupt people off of the orange, reds, and yellows. The most unrealistic part of Monopoly is that rich investors ever go to jail. Or yeah, and being dragged too. They get dragged constantly. Utilities are in a very similar situation as the railroads. The more people that you're playing with, the more valuable they get, but they're not as good as the railroads. The railroads are good. Never buy hotels. There's a good one. Darren Klaus says, whatever houses there are in your box, that is exactly, well, there's supposed to be a certain number of houses, and that's it. You're not allowed to build more houses than that. You can't take stuff from around your house and count it as a house. If you've got 32 houses, I can't, how many houses in a Monopoly set? Number of houses in Monopoly. I don't want to count that. With 4 houses, 32 houses. So there are 32 houses in Monopoly. And once that's gone, it's over. So the optimal strategy is to put 4 houses on all your properties and sucking up all the houses. So if there are no more houses left, people cannot build hotels, and then that's it. If all the houses are on the properties, that's it. They're done. They're all done. There's not going to be any more houses in the game, and you just let people keep rolling until they run out of money. What else to be said about this game? Is legal in Monopoly to make off-the-table deals? Yes. Like, sell me this, and I won't sell this other one to that player, or am I just being a dick? No, you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to make all sorts of deals like this. So now here's my deal, or my deal with making deals. If you are playing in a group that you know you're going to play against them many times in the future, do not disgustingly rip them off, because if you do, you need to make deals in this game to make it work, because everyone is, oh yeah, another one is buy whatever you land on. Do not pass it up. You buy everything. You land on the light color one, you buy it. You land on the utility, you might not like it, but you buy it. You need to buy up everything that you land on. Everything. You just spend all your cash, because you need as much as possible to bargain and trade with people later on in the game. It's mandatory. So here's the deal when you're making trades. if you're gonna realistically play with people again in the future, you need to build honesty and trust with them. So give them relatively fair deals while trying to win the game. If you don't, and then anyway, this is my personal way of playing. If you don't expect to play with these people ever again, like, I don't know, you just met them for the first time and they're just visiting, they're just like vacationing from another country, I just, like, I'll rip people off like that. It's so easy to rip people off. Like, give me all your cash and I will give you this property. And then they have the properties and they realize they have no cash to build houses. And they realize I ripped them off. And I'm like, well, I'm going to win the game. And then I don't have to see you ever again because, you know, you're going to go back to your state or you're going to go back to your province. And I was just meeting you for the first time through a friend of a friend of a friend and whatever. But anyway, if you're playing with family or friends you expect to play with many times in the future, like, you need to build trust. Otherwise, if you rip them off, they'll never make deals with you ever again. And that's not good. Ranmook, isn't Monopoly in a game that teaches you how awful monopolies can be and making the best monopoly making everyone else suffer? Monopoly is really a game about cash flow. That's what Monopoly is actually. This is the fundamental thing you got to learn about Monopoly. It's about cash flow. So how when you have cash flow, you get rich. And when you don't have cash flow, you end up paying. And when you pay, you go broke. I would say that at a high level, this is what it's about. Anyway, what else do we have? LK, and if you run out of physical money, you can use anything to represent money, aka money printing. I can't remember. I think you can do that, though. I don't think the bank goes bankrupt. Always no, this is not how you want to do it. So if you don't buy a property, it goes to auction. You never want it to go to auction. If you know people are short on cash, auction something you plan to buy. If you know people are short on cash, auction something. No, that doesn't help. Because if you lose, I mean, if you, oh, I see what you mean. Okay. If people are all broke, you could let everything go to auction, because if you don't buy it, it goes to auction, then you can buy it for less than what people have on hand for money. Yeah, that's a interesting thing, yeah. Most popular strategy is called Elfster. My strategy is like that, except you buy and build up the first two corners. That optimizes chance cards. Also make deal on rent owed to you. Yeah, you always buy. Everything you stand on buy. Don't buy it. No, you got to buy it. If you don't buy it, the thing is, you need to be put in a position where you can get a monopoly, like where you can get everything of one color. And if you don't buy everything yet you land on, then you have no chance. Like, dark blues are not good. Ideally, you don't buy the dark blues. But if you didn't land on anything else, then you should buy it anyway. You buy it almost to prevent someone else from having it. Coffee and Monopoly stream. Well, someone asked about the strategy, and there is quite a bit of strategy, and I think with what I've told you, you'll basically wipe the floor with everyone else. Have you ever watched the documentary Macmillan's about the McDonald's Monopoly game that was a sham? I've never saw the documentary, but I heard that it was a scam. They were scamming people for years. Best way to win is only buy houses, never upgrade to hotels. Yeah, but if you're in that situation, you're probably winning anyway, in my opinion. Never played Monopoly anymore because people literally bar me from making deals with other people or force me to make fair deals without consent because fun. There you go. You see, here's it in practice. If you rip people off, they don't like it and they won't want to play with you anymore. Or they won't make deals with you and you need the deals. Bank never goes bankrupt. It's in the rules. Excellent. So we got a Monopoly expert here. We have a Monopoly. True, I actually purchased jail. Purchasing jail. Now, there's one important thing. A lot of people might say, well, Monopoly sucks because the game never ends. The game can end. You just need... There are some people, and I was one of them when I was a kid, where, you know, all the taxes would go under free parking, and if you land on free parking, you get all the money. But the point is, like, the money needs to leave the game and go back to the bank. So, like, there cannot be anything under free parking, and there's no bonuses for going past go, like, or sorry, or landing on go. So some people play with the rule that you get like $400 if you land on go. That's just complete nonsense. So if you inflate the amount of money that's in this game by keeping it in the game, then the game goes on for forever. But if you just if your taxes go straight to the bank, and if you don't get any stupid bonuses with go, then the game will end within a reasonable amount of time. Like, you know, within 45 minutes. It won't go on for hours. Anyway, hope that was, I might have to retitle this thing to, The Basic Strategy to Monopoly. And now, use that knowledge, people. You'll be, now when people suggest Monopoly, you're like, yes, I want to play Monopoly. I know how this works. I know how this works. See that, but you're playing with the house rules, though. That's the problem. It doesn't drag on forever if you get the money out of the economy. Oh, there was a real question somewhere here. So, okay, whatever. I gotta get... I saw someone ask an actual Magic question. If I missed it, just ask it again. Okay, how do you cast Shatter Skull Smashing in Arena for X equals 6 or more and have it deal 12? I've tried it, nothing happens. How do I make it work? I don't know. Okay, hold on. Let's get Shatter Skull Smashing. I've never tried to cast this in Arena. Okay, so it deals X damage, divide as you choose among up to 2 target creatures and or planeswalkers if X is 6 or more. Shatter Skull Smashing deals twice X damage, divide as you choose among... You can't go more than 12? Oh, so you mean it will deal... So you want to deal 6 damage and then deal 12. If X is 6 or more... So you need to pay 8 mana. Are you paying 8 mana? Are you paying the double red and then 6 for the X? That's the only thing. That's the only question I would have. Otherwise maybe it's a bug, because I don't know. I would have to see how it's being cast. Tybell, your assets are in the properties. You can have only $200 and still be in the winning position if you own a lot of property. I'll always pay more cash to get properties and trades. You need the. It's all in the It's all about the cash flow. It's not how much cash you have. It's the cash flow. Can we now discuss death and taxes archetype for the rest of the show? Oh, you mean because it's related to Monopoly? Death and taxes, the archetype. I'm so surprised that we still don't have any Monopoly Magic crossover. There's a new deck list for zombies, or was it nonsensical hype for Champion of the Perished? I don't think anyone's tried to make a zombies deck yet. That's all. No, like, there's bigger things that people are interested in playing. Like, let's be serious. It's a tribal deck. No one wants to playtest tribal. I will try. I will try. Sanzi, regarding to no one to play board games with, you can try Board Game Arena. It's online. You can play with strangers. Well, I've played Monopoly with people online before. It's been done. But thank you very much for suggesting it. I mean, I guess the bottom line is I just don't play many board games. I mean, the board game I play the most is maybe chess, if you can consider that a board game. It's a board, it's a game, it's played with people. Just not very multiplayer. First Doyce, thoughts on Scuttle Tide with Food Engine? Yeah, you're the person I missed. I saw the question, but we are a little caught up on the Monopoly. Okay, let's look up Scuttle Tide first, so I can wrap my head around this card. 2 mana, discard a card, create a crab, and then Delirium. Crabs you control get +1/+1 as long as there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard. Okie dokie. And Food Engine. The engine. Such card does not exist. Oh, with the food. Oh, you mean with food? Hold on. Discard a card. Delirium. I don't understand what you're asking me here. You mean like some sort of food synergy like the Underworld Cookbook? Discard a card, create a crab. But as I don't know what this has anything to do with food or any food engine. Is there an actual card called Food Engine? Oh, Food Engine Asmo / Cookbook. What does this have to do with it though? All right, let me wrap my brain around this. You have to discard a card to create a crab. I don't get it. It doesn't add to the synergy. I mean, you're discarding cards. It would make sense if it said something like, if you discard a card, create a crab. But it doesn't. You need to discard a separate card for this card instead of the food engine, instead of the actual food engine. He probably uses it as a discard for, well, oh yeah, so that's the synergy. We discard this specific card to our cards. It gives you tons of cards? How? What am I missing here? 3 mana discard once doesn't seem that great. Because you actively have to discard. This is a separate ability. Like, it's not like you get to discard something with the Underworld Cookbook and you get the Scuttle Tide synergy at the same time. I mean, the only thing that's different is that you, like, I guess with Underworld Cookbook you can discard cards to activate Delirium, but I don't see the synergy here. And my verdict would be there is no synergy here. It would be different. You timed me out. How dare you? We go back. You work, damn it. You work for me. Alright, if it shows up again, I'll get back to it. Yeah, it's a separate ability. it's completely separate. So it actually has no synergy whatsoever. That's why I was wondering, like, what am I missing here? What is happening? So you see, like, here's the Underworld Cookbook. You have to tap and discard a card, you create a food. But the food has nothing to do with this. And this is a separate ability. So I discarded a card for the food, but I don't have anything for Scuttle Tide. The food is gone, you know? Anyway, so it doesn't have synergy. But we got a super chat. Thank you very much, Chris Williams, for the super chat. They need Cavern of Souls and Aether Vial in Historic, or is there another way to balance the over-control decks? Yeah, well, I mean, I think Merfolk has a fine match against Control because we have flash creatures, so we don't technically need Vial to play things at instant speed. We can just flash them in play. But that would be the key, to be able to play at flash speed as much as possible. I know not every deck has access to flash creatures, but that would be your best bet. Other than that, I wouldn't say Cavern of Souls is the more mandatory card. I would say Aether Vial is. Because Aether Vial has more utility, I think, than Cavern of Souls. Oh, to get out Asmo? I think that I get it now. This is bad synergy. We have a lot of good sack outlets out there. Making crabs to get Asmo out. I'm gonna pass on that one, my fellow MTG players. I'm gonna pass on that one. There are better ways to get Asmorano out, which includes just the Underworld Cookbook itself. Alright, we gotta go back here. Papa Joe, what's the best budget replacement of Force Negation in Merfolk decks? Spell Pierce? Or just Counterspell? So Spell Pierce. Honorable mention to Dispel, depending on the matchup. Like, it's good versus Burn. Dispel is very good versus Burn. I love this card. So it's Dispel, counter target instant spell, and then just Counterspell. Like, just regular Counterspells. Force Negation it's good. It's good. But just regular Counterspells do the job as well. Candace says, I'm here to hear hot takes on modern and people decks. The leftist in me despises Monopoly. Mikey J, what's the optimal strategy for that monopoly you're allowed to cheat in? What's the monopoly you're allowed to cheat in? You mean like real life? Is that what you're talking about? Where people can commit all sorts of financial crimes and not go to jail? Okay, Victor Aguilar says, I had 6 lands, 2 mountains. They were 2/4/4. There were 2 4/4s, and I could not kill them. Maybe it needs to be 6 damage exactly to one thing. Hold on. Deals X damage to binds and choose among up to 2 target creatures and/or players. If 6 or more, if X is 6 or more, Shatter Skull Smashing deals twice X damage. It sounds like a bug. It sounds like a bug. You could not kill both of them. I don't have an answer to you. I think you did it right, and then maybe the card just doesn't work, which happens. File a report with MTG Arena. That would probably be your best bet. RG, funny question. Is Necropones really that broken in Modern if it was legal? Probably. Probably. It's a good question because there's no great way to ramp this thing out. But probably, I would bet it would be broken. You don't draw any more cards, but whatever life total you have left, just minus it and get all the cards. It's a pretty stupid ability. It's probably broken. It would probably be playing some control deck. That's how it would go. Necropotence, draw 10. Easy game. What do you think of Jeskai Blitz since Izzet Blitz has fallen out of the meta? I don't think Izzet Blitz has fallen that much out of the meta. I mean, Jeskai Blitz is fine, but Izzet Blitz is just going to be more consistent. I think Izzet Blitz is just a little less popular right now, but it's still around. Yep, and it would not let me assign 6 and 6. Or should I put 3 and 3? Yes, that's how it works. You're supposed to put 3. You deal X damage, so you only have 6 damage available. So you divide it 3 and 3, and then it will double the damage. That's how it works. Maybe you just didn't understand. Like, you get the damage after you've assigned your damage. You only get 6 damage, and then when it resolves, you get the double. Yeah, you would put 3 and 3, and then it would double it. Thoughts on Demolich for Izzet Phoenix? A great card. It's working. It already has a lot of proof. Get your Demoliches if you like Izzet Phoenix. I can't promise Izzet Phoenix is literally going to be a deck in the future, but it's good stuff. Oh, I like this comment. Monopoly crosses over into Magic via Hasbro's obscene greed. Hasbro is sort of hurting. The pandemic made things really bad for them. Like, Hasbro's main source of income was like selling toys. Well, that doesn't work anymore if manufacturers are down. They gotta be greedy now. All the weight has been put on Hasbro. Sorry, all the weight has been put on Wizards of the Coast. Andrew Sisson going to a 2K Saturday. Have Jund, Death Shadow, and Ponza. Do not have Ragavan. Been playing Death Shadow on Magic the Gathering Online and doing okay. Ponza seems bad against the new low mana curves and would be updated. And it would be updated Jund if used. If you can play Jund with Ragavan and Dragon Rage Channeler, I think that would be your best bet. Otherwise, Jund Death Shadow would be your next, and I agree. I don't think Ponza is in that great of a spot. It's fine, but it's not as great of a spot because of the mana efficiency. And also, there's a lot of red decks out there. Or maybe that doesn't matter. Yeah, it does matter because you play Blood Moon. Daniel, there's a 210-person Modern event this weekend. What deck is better positioned for the current meta? Boros Burn, Izzet Prowess, Esper Reanimator. I would say, okay, if you want a deck that you can trust, it's gonna put it. It's probably gonna do okay, but not great. You go with Izzet Prowess. Esper Reanimator is gonna be a huge gamble. Boros Burn, if you get the right matchups, you will crush this tournament, and that could also be a good choice. So I mean, but Boros Burn is always coming down to the matchups. You get the good matchups, you will crush them. You get the bad matchups, whatever. But if you're looking for a good result, Izzet Prowess. If you're looking to win the tournament, maybe I would go with Boros Burn. Like I said, it has that winning potential. I think it has that winning potential. You just might get smashed. I don't know if burn is that. I don't know if burn. How do I put it? I don't know if the metagame is adjusted to burn yet. That it would be a bad choice to make it like even a high variance choice. I think it might end up just being the best choice for you. Go with burn. When Mr. Pennybags 2-2. It's not Pennybags. It's what's his name? Is he Pennybags? No. Monopoly guy's name. Monopoly guy's name. Oh, it's close. When Rich Uncle Pennybags. Okay, don't forget his first name, Rich. Or maybe it's Rick. I forgot. I guess I forgot his name. I didn't think Pennybags was even in his name, period. Whenever a creature blocks Mr. Pennybags, sacrifice that creature unless its controller pays 2. That's right, you gotta pay the Pennybags. Hey Nikachu, what time is it? It's time to answer more questions. You're pretty good with this thing, Trevor. But the thing is, it's not what time it literally is on the clock, it's how long the stream has been running for. So Trevor's sort of figured out at the 45-minute mark, we do Decklist review. But it's not 45, we aren't 45 minutes into the stream. It's all about the stream time. I give you guys at least an hour. Ibradu says, I think it would be cooler for everyone to have access to a nice waifu. What? What do we got? What about miscast? A little too narrow of a card, miscast. Even as a budget card. I mean, like, you could just, in the right meta, sure. In the right meta. It's not, you know, if you really need to hit those sorceries. But, like, people can pay those that 3 mana. This is really relevant against, like, sometimes control decks. Or even burn, like in the late game. They play that, like, do I want Dispel or miscast versus burn? The answer is I desperately want, I want Dispel. I want Dispel versus burn. Because late in the game, they'll just pay this tax. It won't matter. Decisive Denial has been pretty good in Historic. Can it make the jump to Modern? I think I know what this is. No. That's all I'm going to say about that. One problem is that if you're playing with counter spells, why do you have big chunky creatures? Like usually these two are sort of non-bows with each other. Like it's just hard to find a deck for this card. It's okay, I guess. It's okay. It's okay. It's, you know what? Maybe I'm underrating this card. Maybe it's very good and it just has no home for it. Anyone got advice on how to avoid the car warranty center phone calls? I've never heard of this problem, but just block the fuck out of them. They might send it to they might send it through another they might send it through another phone number though. But then block that one. You just keep blocking that stuff till it goes away. Till it goes away. Hey Nikachu, can we know how many entries in Decklist review? Just curious. Just look at the last person. And it just shows how many entries there are. What is there right now? There are 20 entries, I think. Or no, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe there's 42? I guess look briefly and see what's the largest number. We're over 40, that's for sure. Necropones and Death Shadow. Yeah, that probably would be pretty good. What do you think about the meta in Modern? Balanced. It's fine. I can live with this. Necropones would work in Ad Nauseam. I don't know if it would work in Ad Nauseam. Maybe. But I think with Ad Nauseam, you just want to draw the entire deck. Like, the two cards would be working against each other. Any prediction for the top 3 decks played in Vegas? It's quite some time away, but if I were to take a guess today, Elementals, Hammer Time, Blue-Red Murktide. If you put a gun to my head and I gotta spit something out for today, that's what I would guess. Does anyone see a problem with a company that sells board games not being able to make money during a global lockdown? No one's bleeding any hearts for Wizards of the Coast. I mean, Hasbro. And now Trevor should be speaking up about... Oh, where's my music? There we go. Now it's Decklist review time. I'll answer a few more questions while people get ready, but if you want to be eligible for Decklist review, you want your list to be showcased with some feedback, go into my description. There is a link to my Discord. Join the Discord, go to channel Decklist review, and enter the command !review deck, space gives the URL to your deck list, and you'll be eligible at random for Decklist review. Well, I mean, it depends on the rules at the time. Like, you can if you're allowed, you know, a gathering of like 4 people. Let's be serious. A lot of people were playing Commander in person during the lockdown. That's how it like got really big really fast. As Lit Kakashi once said, "Show me what you got. Show us what you got, people." Does it help being a chess master in Magic? Yes, it does. It's all about pattern recognition. I went chess, poker, or no, I went Magic, chess, poker, back to Magic. I think poker helps a little bit more because you get used to the fact that there's random chance. Some chess players can't get past the fact that there's random chance in games. Zal says, do you think investing in Flesh and Blood is worth it and not playing/collecting it? The rule with investing is always invest in what you know. So if you have to ask me that question, you probably don't know, and therefore you shouldn't invest. Don't take you never take my advice. When you invest in something, you personally got to know something about it and why you're investing in it, because then you will have a better idea how long you can hold it onto it. Like if I told you yes, you don't know when to sell it until I say so. So the number one rule with investing, at least in my opinion, is you invest in what you understand and what you know. And if you don't, then don't do it. There's plenty of opportunities to invest in stuff. Do not invest in things you don't understand. I hope that helps you, Zal. I hope that helps a lot of other people. Like, if you don't know if this is a good investment, then it's not a good investment for you. That's all. And that's okay. That is okay. Well, we had the music. You missed it. You missed it. I swear I had the music, didn't I? I swear I had the music. Alright, let's look at some deck lists. It's time to look at the deck lists. We got... my thing didn't work out. It didn't work. Let's do this again. Okay, Kaya! Congratulations, Kaya. You're the next contestant on deck list review. And good for Kaya. Show me what you got, Kaya. Ooh, this is your full name, Kaya Metra. Beautiful name. Budget Merfolk. Tide Shaper, Harbinger, Lord of Atlantis, Master of the Pearl Trident, Trickster, Silver Gildap, 2 Glasspool Mimic, 3 Kira. Maybe one of the more expensive cards in the deck. Reejery, Spaloon, Ether Vial. Oh, come on. This is not really that budget. It's not that budget, is it? 3 Spreading Seas, Cavern of Souls. How is any of this budget? Cavern of Souls. What budget do you have? 12 Island, 1 Manamo, 4 Mutavault, 1 Oboro, 2 Gutshot, 4 Relic, Counterspell, Harbinger, and 3 Tidemarn Mage. So you're just missing the Force of Negation, right? How many lands you have? You have 20 lands. You went with 2 Glass Pools. This is totally fine. This is a beautiful deck. I have nothing to add here. I think for a budget deck, it looks really, really clean. And let's be serious, this is not very much a budget deck. It's just not optimal, Merfolk. And you know what? Honestly, there's a lot of situations where you don't even need... You really don't need, like, Force of Negation. It's not even necessary. I'm not even playing with Chalice of the Void right now. You know? And the same thing can happen with Force of Negation. The only thing I might say is maybe you want some more counter magic. You don't have... You have literally 4 copies. It's okay. 4 is okay. You can live off of that, but... Oh, it's $100 bucks online? Yeah, It's about, I guess that's a online budget deck. Dockhand actually sucks. Though it's in, The results are in. This card actually blue. There's probably a world where it's playable, but in general it's not. It's just not. Yeah, it was actually probably a budget deck for online. Everyone is always doing Merfolk. People need to try to build something weird or new. Well, the history of this channel, this was dominantly a Merfolk channel in the history of it all. Alright, anyway, thank you very much for submitting the deck list, Kaya. Good luck with it. It is a solid deck. Well, that was quick. That was a fast one. We can get out of here early. Joe Brook with Rakdos Vampires. There we go. Here we go. Come on, Google, go away. Okay, Rakdos Vampires by Joe Brook. Bloodghast, Cordial Vampire. Easily the best vampire in the game. Hands down. Nothing even compares. I don't think people understand the full power of this card yet. Dusk Legion, Zealot. Isn't it, yeah, ETB, draw a card, lose a life. Not the biggest fan of this card, honestly. Gatekeeper of Malakir is okay. It's better if you... This card gets better if you have a lot of removal in your deck. If you don't have a lot of removal, this card ends up being really poor. Because if you just Edict your opponent and they've got a bunch of creatures on the board, they just get rid of the worst one and you're left with a 2/2 creature. No, the Ebon Legion is great. Stormkirk Captain is actually quite strong. Vampire Nocturnus. I never really liked this card. If you want to play it, sure. Vampire Socialite. This is a new one. Menace. If it enters the battlefield and if opponent lost life this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on each other vampire you control. As long as an opponent lost life this turn, each other vampire you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Okay. And Visir Seer. And no other removal. Sorin is okay, but Sorin gets a lot better. I mean, if I were to play this deck, I would have, instead of Vampire Nocturnus, I would play with, what's it called? What's the one, if you gain 3 life, you can bring it back from the graveyard to the battlefield? Yeah, the host introduces himself as a Merfolk Master. What do you expect? The Nighthawk Scavenger is not bad. Maybe I would play Nighthawk Scavenger over Gatekeeper of Malakir. Like, this is just a bad removal spell if you don't have removal backing it up. If you had 8 other sources of removal, I could get behind this card a little bit, but I can't get behind it. It's like, it's just a bad 3-drop. So play, so let's talk a bit about Silver Smote Ghoul. Like, this card has really good synergy with your Sorin, because you can sacrifice it, deal 3 damage, and then you get to bring it back from the graveyard. If you gain 3 or more life this turn, return it back from the graveyard to the battlefield tapped. I would... What do we do here? Play with the top card of your library, revealed as long as it is. Like, this is not a bad card. Maybe with the, some of these lands, it's a better card than it looks like right now. Maybe I don't want to take this thing out. This card, okay, I'm going to leave this in because you want to go black-red, but I am not sold on this card at all. I think it's a bit awkward. The best part of this card is that it has Menace. The hard part is, like, if let's say you want to play Vampire Nocturnus, you got to play it pre-combat, right? Not post-combat, so you don't get any benefit with this thing. So the cards I think are a bit dubious. Gatekeeper is definitely dubious. I would at least get rid of Gatekeeper and put in Nighthawk Scavenger. This thing is like a Swiss Army knife. It's like it's a 1/3 that can get bigger. It's Flying Death Touch Lifelink, and its power is equal to 1 plus the number of card types among all card types in your opponent's graveyard. So it can get really large. So I would like that more than Gatekeeper of Malakir, because this as a removal spell is just useless. I don't mind the Lord. What do you have at 2 drops? This is a 2 drop. This is a 2 drop. I'm not really in love with this card, to be honest. I might replace that with the Silver Smoke Ghoul. I'm just scared. The curve is too high. What do we got? This is a 1 drop. This is a 2 drop. 2 drop. 2 drop. Yeah, I think we'll live. It'll be a little chunky at the top of it. I think we'll live. Well, we do have Captivating Vampire. Oh no, this is Cordial. Captivating Vampire. It actually is not that good. It's a Lord. In theory, you could steal things, but it's really hard to use. Indulgent Aristocrats. Oh, this one's actually not too bad. It's not too bad. This is totally an option. Like, you could play this over Viscera Seer or something. And maybe you want to. The Seer doesn't make good use of this deck, for the most part. Like, there's no sacking, right? There's not a single sack trigger. Oh, no, sorry, there is Cordial Vampire, that's it. But you can still use this. You know what? I might like this better. I actually might like this better. I might like Indulgent Aristocrat over the Seer. Even though it costs you mana, I think it might end up being better. Or it's worth playtesting. It's worth playtesting. Oh, but Seer has good synergy with Nocturnus. Can crush since you can scry to get a black card on top. Maybe that's true. Maybe I gotta try that out myself. Like, try to make a Nocturnus. Like, we play 4 Nocturnus, 4 Seer. And then really try to grind the most out of that synergy. Well, we do have the Captain. The Captain! We have the Captain. Gifted Aetherborn, a bad card? It's actually a good card, but it's better as a sideboard card. I've tried to play that card in the main deck, and it just feels like crap against too many decks. Like, you're up against a control deck, and like, this thing is irrelevant. This deck probably should have some removal, but they're just opting not to. What's in the sideboard? Cleansing Wildfire, Engineered Explosives, Kozilek's Return. What? No! No, you'll kill all your stuff. What is the point of this? No, play something else. Leyline of the Void, Pithing Needle, Smash to Smithereens, Thoughtseize. Maybe play some, like, I don't know, maybe this should be Gifted Aetherborn. What is this for? You'll wipe out your board. Well, you'll just sack random creatures to make your this stuff big. Yeah, there's no removal in this deck. This deck probably could use a little bit. Well, that's the thing. Sorin is like removal, sort of. It's like a Lightning Helix. You know what? I've never liked Vampire Hexmage versus Planeswalkers, and I'll tell you why. It's bad value. So let's say they play the Planeswalker, they get one of the abilities, they activate it. Then if you sack your Vampire Hexmage, it's like you got 2 for 1, because they already got value out of one of their abilities. So it's essentially, it's too late for Vampire Hexmage. Like, she might have her moments, but overall it's too late. So I don't really like depending on her. How about Vampiric Fury? Vampire creatures you control get +2/+0 and gain first strike until end of turn. Cards like this don't work so well in Modern. Because if your opponent... You're better off just having like a creature that acts like a lord, like Cordial Vampire, Stormkirk Captain, things like this. Can't we use Vampiric Rage? I think this probably, you meant Vampiric Fury. No one plays cards like this in Modern because the most important thing is just getting creatures to stick. And then if you end up drawing these cards, it's like Temur Battle Rage, right? But Temur Battle Rage at least gets protected and you have this one large creature to like push through tons of damage. What about Sturm Predator for a finisher? Well, our finisher is this thing, the Nocturnus. What is this? 4 mana. Vampire Dragon. Flying. When it becomes tapped, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard and put a +1/+1 counter on the predator. Sacrifice another creature. Gains indestructible until end of turn. Tap it. I don't actually think this is that good of a card. For 4 mana, this doesn't do a lot. I mean, it's nice that it can be made indestructible, but that's about it. So just someone could try to kill it pre-combat, then you give it indestructible, but then you have to tap it. I think that's about it. I would honestly replace this and this with the Silver Smoke Ghoul and the what's it called? The Nighthawk Scavenger. I guess we'll keep everything else the same. And you got, like, maybe I'm missing something here, but I have not a damn clue what Kozilek's Return is for. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's going to wipe out your own board. And, like, that's not good. That's not where you want to be. But anyway, thanks for submitting the deck list. Good luck. Good luck with the changes. And that's it for Coffee and MTG. Thank you very much for joining me today. If I didn't get your comments, questions, or deck list, hey, we do this Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. If you love Coffee and MTG, you want to support the channel, and you don't do so already, you could drop a sub at twitch.tv/NikachuMTG. You could become a patron at patreon.com/NikachuMTG. Or you can hit the join button on YouTube. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining me today. Hope it was a lot of fun. You learned a little something about Monopoly. Now you're not going to be afraid when someone pulls up the Monopoly board, and you're going to be like, oh, I know how to play this game. Nikachu showed me the way. Give me your Monopoly results. DM me. Let me know how you completely destroyed people. So keep brewing up those coffees, Coffee Crew, and we'll keep brewing up the magic. Take care, and I'll see you guys